the sons and daughters of your righteousness. And you have taken all of our shame and given us the gift of holiness. Lord, we're crying out for faith to believe the words you say. We are loved. You say we belong to you. Your grace is enough. Nothing more that we can do. You say we've been bought by your blood, and all that we can say is amen. You have given us a new hope, an anchor for the soul that shall not fail. Jesus, we believe your truth shines. Yes, in the darkest night you shall prevail. Lord, we're crying out for faith to believe the words you say. You say we are loved. You say we belong to you. Your grace is enough. Nothing more that we can do. You say we've been bought by your blood, and all that we can say is amen. Amen. Your word is true. Amen. We trust in you. Amen. Your word is true. Amen. We trust in you. Oh, amen. Your word is true. Amen. We trust in you. You say we are loved. You say we belong to you. Your grace is enough. Nothing more that we can do. You say we've been bought by your blood, and all that we can say, and all your people say, and all that we can say is amen. Amen.
Save yourself from falling. You are safe within my arms. To see yourself in color as you fade from black to white. If you lose yourself to everything, lose yourself to everything, lose yourself to everything, you me. Lose yourself to everything, lose yourself to everything, lose yourself to everything, you find me. You find me in the middle of the darkest night, in the storms, in the places that you thought you'd hide. Through it all, I have never ever left your side. You find me in the middle of the darkest night, in the storms, in the places that you thought you'd hide. Through it all, I have never ever left your side.
Good morning, Crossroads. My name is Kenzie. I'm one of your worship leaders here. It's good to see everybody here today. I'll let you guys. Hey, hey, Mark. Good to see you over there. All right. Well, we're gonna start. If you guys want to stand up, we're gonna start singing some worship with you guys. The first song is gonna be "Your Love Awakens Me." So let's start with that song. You came and broke them down. You broke them down. And there are chains around us. By your grace we are no longer bound. No longer bound. You call me out of the grave. You call me into the light. You called my name and then my heart came alive. Your love is greater. Your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Oh, 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 oh. Feel the darkness shaking, all the dead are coming back to life. I'm back to life. Hear the song awaken, all creation singing, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. You call me out of the grave, you call me into the light. You call my name and when my heart came alive. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. And what a love we found, it can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, it can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. And what a love we found, it can't hold us down. We shout it out, we're alive, 'cause you're alive. Sing it out. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens. Your love is greater, your love is stronger. Your love awakens, awakens, awakens me. Your love is greater, your love Awesome. This next song we're going to sing is about seeing life through the light of Jesus, the wonder of seeing life through the light of Jesus. Let's sing this. Have you ever seen the wonder in the glimmer of first sight? As your eyes begin to open and the blindness meets the light, if you have so say, I see the world in light, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in light, bursting in living color, I see the world your way, and I'm walking in light. In the air, second light, having come out of the waters, with the old one left behind. I see the world in light, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in light, bursting in living color, I see the world your way. And I'm walking in the light. I see the world in grace. I see the world in gospel. I see the world your way. And I'm walking in the light. I'm walking in the wonder. You're the wonder in the wild. To the wilderness to wonder. Oh, I say, I see the world in love. I see the world in freedom. I see the Jesus way. You're the wonder in the wild. Wonder in the wild. Wander into the wild. Let's sing this together. I see the world your way, and I'm not afraid to follow. I see the world your way, I'm not ashamed to say so. I see the Jesus way, and I'm walking in the light. I see the world in light, I see the world in wonder, I see the world in light, bursting in living color. I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. I see the world in grace, I see the world in gospel, I see the world your way, and I'm walking in the light. I'm walking in the wonder. You're the wonder in the wild. To the wilderness to wonder. Oh, I say, I see the world in love. I see the world in freedom. I see the Jesus way. You're the wonder in the wild. This next song we're going to sing is called Cornerstone. And this song means a lot to me because it's about talking about how God's the cornerstone of your life. You know, you go to Him for everything. So as you hear this song, open up your hearts to Him and just open up your mind to Him. Feel free to open up your arms as you hear this song and just be comforted by Him. Feel His grace on you in this room. is so good, you guys. He's so good. I tell you what, I never would have thought in a million years that I would be up here on the stage singing and leading worship. It's crazy because I literally wrote on a card 2 years ago that I wanted to lead worship. If you knew my story, you would be like, what? Because like some girl just plays guitar in her mom's house, sitting there doing nothing, that just, never thought anything of herself. And I came to this church and I sat down and I saw somebody singing one day and I just got inspired because God came on me and just like, that's you one day. That's you in 2 years, It's crazy to think what he can do in such a small amount of time. This next song that we're going to sing is about coming to the altar with your problems and just going to Jesus and just talking to him and just telling him what's going on in your life. And it's hard sometimes, believe me, I know. I've been struggling. But you just got to talk to him. You don't have to be perfect. God didn't say you had to be perfect to talk to him. God isn't looking for perfect people. He's looking for broken people. So when you take that in, think about that today. Think about it when you hear this song and you hear this chorus and you hear the words. Let it seep into you. And let's sing this song together as we do that. thank you right now. We just want to praise your name, God. Thank you for letting us come to you with our problems and just listening to us when we feel like we have nobody else. For giving us guidance, for comforting us, for helping us honor you every day and help us live every day. God, I pray that this week you help lift those that need it. You help guide those that need it. You just nudge them along, God. I pray this in your name. Amen. All right, you guys can all be seated.
Woo, Crossroads. I got all the feels this morning. You guys are sounding good, man. That was awesome. Well, hey, my name's Chad. I am the pastor of children's ministry here, and we're really excited that each and every one of you decided to join us here this morning. You know, here at Crossroads, we just want to show the love that to everybody that Jesus showed us. So we really try to live into the mindset that we are for you, for Jesus, and for a better life. We want to say a special welcome to those of you who are joining us from our live stream. Thanks so much for welcoming us into your homes this morning or wherever you are watching from today. On your way in today, well, actually, before we move forward, we just want to give you a little heads up. In a moment, we're going to be receiving our offering. Just wanted to make sure that you are prepared for that. But on your way in today, you received a program. Go ahead and take that program out now. Inside, you're going to find a little card. That's our connection card. Now, this connection card is our way to connect with each and every one of you who are here this morning. So we're going to ask everyone who's here, whether it's your first time or you've been coming here for years, go ahead and fill out your name and email on that card, name and email. Now, if you are new or newer to Crossroads, please feel free filling out whatever other information you feel comfortable sharing on that card. Be sure to hold on to it, though. Don't put it in the offering as it goes by, because we're going to walk you through filling out that back portion a little bit later in the service. Now, speaking of those connection cards and being newer to Crossroads, if you are new to Crossroads, we would love to meet you. Take your connection card back to Connection Point, located in the back of the auditorium there. There'll be some people there that would love to meet you, maybe talk to you a little bit more about what's going on here at Crossroads, but be sure to give them that connection card because they'll trade it in for you for an awesome, awesome gift. Another thing we would like to do this morning, talking about Connection Point too, next steps. We have next steps for anybody here at the church. So if you're interested in taking a next step, such as baptism, Connection Point is the place to go for all the information in regards to that. This morning, in light of Veterans Day being tomorrow, if you are a veteran and have served within one of our military branches, the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, or National Guard, if you wouldn't mind just standing up so that we can recognize you this morning. Can we give a big hand for these people? From the bottom of our hearts, truly, thank you so much for serving our country and for protecting the freedoms that we have today. You know, I was talking a little bit about those next steps earlier and talking about Connection Point. There are actually 4 next steps that we've kind of identified here at Crossroads, and those are, we want to encourage you to, 1, join a group. Maybe it's serve with one of our teams here at Crossroads. Maybe it's membership at Crossroads, or possibly baptism. I want to talk to you a little bit about membership here at Crossroads. It's a chance for you to kind of get behind the mission and vision of Crossroads and kind of what we aspire to be here at the church. Now, I could come up here and I could talk to you a little bit about membership, but I am actually going to turn things over to Chris and Jackie Freshour to tell you a little bit more about their experience with membership. Check this out.
Hi, I'm Chris Freshour.
And I'm Jackie, and we've been coming to Crossroads together for about 11 years now. When we first got married, we were not going to church together at all. I just remember praying, God, I don't think I could do this. And at that point, I vividly remember feeling God's presence and hearing him say, you're right, you can't do this alone. So that I went home and went to Chris and said, I want to go to church together. I don't think he was super excited about it, but he said, okay.
And I was in and out of churches growing up my whole life, Lutheran and Catholic churches, and so when I came to Crossroads, that's totally what I was expecting, and when I got there, it was not at all what I thought it would be.
And another thing I really loved about Crossroads was the Awesome Kids program. I wanted to go somewhere that we could go together as a family.
Once we started coming to Crossroads more consistently and more often, we started getting more involved in what was going on in church. Started participating around the church with like stage design team, Food for Thought, One Matters, just jumping in and out of different groups. And we took a class that is equivalent to, I guess, what today would be Discover Crossroads, and learned about all those different things that we could help out and participate in. We eventually took a baptism class, which seemed like the next step, and Jackie and I got baptized together. And as we were doing all these, you know, we just what kind of impact Crossroads had in our lives and on our community, and we just really wanted to be a bigger part of that, and it only seemed logical to, you know, become members. The more involved we got, and after baptism and everything, we just felt like that was a big step for us. So.
And taking that next step to become a member was super important because that was our way of saying we are all in. We had watched God use Crossroads to impact and transform us individually and in our marriage. And we didn't want to be just consumers anymore. We wanted to be a part of what Crossroads was doing.
So membership to us just means, you know, we're not fans anymore sitting on the sidelines. We're actually on the field. And if you call Crossroads home and you're thinking about membership, I would really encourage you to do so.
So our next membership class is actually going to be taking place December 2nd, and that is following second service. And we are going to have lunch and childcare provided for you, and there is absolutely no pressure with this class. We're not going to make you sign up for members to be members on the dotted line after the class. Your decision. It is absolutely pressure-free. But if you are interested in that class, you can mark membership on your connection card, or you can go to our website, crossroadson23.com, and you can sign up there as well. At this time, our ushers are going to come forward to receive our offering. And just to let you know, the service is not the only way that you can support Crossroads. You can actually support Crossroads through our Crossroads app, and that's super easy to download either through Google Play or the App Store. All you have to do is search Crossroads on 23 and download it to your phone or Android device from there. Now, there are a lot of other things happening here at the church, a lot more information to give you, but I'm actually going to turn things over to my friend Allie. So check this out.
Good morning, Crossroads. My name is Allie Pete. Thanks to all the there, and here's what's happening. Next week is Sample It Sunday. Meet new people and find out how you can make a difference. All of our ministry teams will be on display in the concourse. Stop by to learn about serving opportunities here at Crossroads. Thanksgiving Food Drop is this Saturday. This is an amazing For You event where we gift hundreds of families with a full Thanksgiving dinner. It's not too late to turn in your food drop bag. Just drop it off before Friday. Want to sponsor a turkey for a family? Turkeys are $11. Write Food Drop on your check or envelope. Our Angel Tree is a way to give Christmas gifts to needy children in Haiti and right here in Toledo. We're currently looking for volunteers to help manage the Angel Tree process this year. If that interests you, please write Angel Tree on your connection card to learn more. Stay connected at Crossroads by downloading our mobile app or visiting crossroadson23.com.
Okay, so in light of our Under Pressure series, I thought we'd have a little bit of fun this morning. Now, how many of you out there are parents or grandparents or aunts or uncles or just no kids like in your neighborhood? Okay, so like only 10 of you fall into that category. That's great. So this should be fun. Anyways, you know, if you know any kid at all, that they love their specific TV shows, right? And when they watch those TV shows, they over and over and over and over again. So those theme songs tend to get ingrained in your head. And sometimes it's not even the same show. It's like the same episode of the same show. Like my son is like, I want to watch Daniel Tiger, and I want to watch the one where he gets sick. So I know that one like by heart because it's the same show over and over and over again. But anyways, back to the theme songs. We get to know these. These get ingrained in our head, right? Well, I kind of want to test everyone's theme song trivia, if you will. So this is definitely a crowd participation time. So we're going to play, I think we have 5 theme songs for you this morning. We're going to play a theme song, and I want you to just shout out the answer as soon as you know it, okay? We'll see how good you all are at this morning. Are you guys ready to play? Are you ready to play? Woo! All right, let's hear that first theme song.
Roll call. Donald. Daisy.
Mickey Mouse Clubhouse is right. Does anybody know the roll call by heart? I'll call you up here. I will. I'm just kidding. I know it. But anyways, so let's go to the next one. You guys did awesome on that. Let's hear our next song.
Goes into the night so they can save the day.
PJ Masks. Who are these heroes? Anybody? No? Sure? No, okay. All right. PJ Masks is the answer to that one. You did. All right. We're going to get a little bit, I don't want to offend anybody, older in this one here. So shout it out if you know it. Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. It's that chimes that gets everybody every time. That was good. Good job. All right. Let's go with another one here.
There's a problem. Round Adventure Bay.
Paw Patrol. I heard it in the back. How many of you knew it was Paw Patrol? Yeah, okay. How many of you knew it was Paw Patrol but didn't want to raise your hand? Yeah, okay, just checking. All right, we got one more for you. Here we go.
Butterfly in the sky. I can go twice as high.
Reading Rainbow. Reading Rainbow. Anybody get Reading Rainbow? You ever have one of those things where you smell something and it like triggers like a memory in your mind? Jim played this in the office, and I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't watch it much, but it triggered a childhood memory. It was weird. Hey, you guys did awesome, though. Give yourselves a hand. That was good. You did a really good job. Well, hey, we're going to be continuing our series of Under Pressure, and John has an awesome message for you this morning, so let's get things started.
Well, good morning, everybody. I'm so glad that you made the choice to be here. You know, life's not chances, it's choices. I think you made a great choice in being here today, and hopefully when you leave here, you'll say, yeah, that was a good choice. To those of you who are guests, welcome. We love guests here at Crossroads. I'd love the opportunity to connect with you back at Connection Point right after this gathering. So good to see everybody. And last night we hosted an event here. Our mission partners, Social Services for the Arab Community, really hosted it. We provided the facilities, and it was just a great event. Here are some of the pictures of the people that were there last night. And one of the things that Social Services for the Arab Community does so well is to tangibly express the love of Jesus. Of course, Muslim people of Arabic descent who are Muslim, they don't have the same beliefs that we have, but you know what? They're our neighbors. And Jesus says, what? Love your neighbor. And that's what SSFAC did a great job of last night. We had some of our own volunteers here as well. And I just want to remind you also that SSFAC needs some volunteer teachers, tutors on Tuesday and Thursday nights. So you may want to mark that and make a commitment to do that. Here at Crossroads, we want to be known by what we're for, not by what we're against. And so to those of you who are our guests, I just want to say we're for you. We're so glad you're here. And we're for Jesus without apology. And we're for a better life. Well, last Sunday, Pastor Keith hit the ball out of the park. I mean, he took a big swing and smacked it right out of the park as he opened up this series called Under Pressure. It's a parenting series. And he had a big defining idea that I've been thinking about all week, and maybe you have too. And that is this, that healthy parents aren't as concerned about the success or the happiness of their kids as much as they are concerned, watch this, about the character of Christ that's developing in their kids. That's just pivotal. If you're a follower of Jesus, that's so pivotal. That's the primary goal of parenting when it comes to your kids. Now, next week, I'm going to have the opportunity to talk with you about how today's use of time determines tomorrow's influence in your kids. So be sure to come back. And then the final week, Pastor Mark is going to teach us about how not to be a reactive parent, but to be a proactive parent. Reactivity is never good. Proactivity is always good. So we're having a good time with this series. Today, I'm going to share with you a little-known biblical secret that is going to help your parenting go to the next level. I'm going to share that secret with you in just a few moments, but I just want to share a little bit personally about my life. Almost 31 years ago, Karen and I, we had a little baby daughter. God bless us with a little baby daughter. I mean, we just thought she was it. This came after 9 years of infertility that we struggled with, and so when we got this kid, it was like, wow, this got to be just like great. And you match that with being a first-time parent. I mean, we just were bound and determined we were going to get this parenting thing right, okay? And so we did that. And then you kind of match the fact that Karen and I are just a little bit obsessive-compulsive, me more than Karen. But, you know, we wanted to get this parenting thing right. And we wanted to correct all the mistakes our parents made, so we wanted to get this parenting thing right. I mean, we were bound and determined to get this parenting thing right. We wanted to be perfect parents. And you know what that led to? That led to us feeling under all kinds of pressure. I mean, there are no perfect parents, and we all want the best for our kids, but when you put yourself under that kind of pressure, it's just kind of sometimes just unimaginable, the kind of stress that you feel. We felt like this small circle, small isolated circle, where we needed to get this parenting thing right. I mean, we were somewhat intelligent, Karen especially more than me. We were somewhat intelligent parents, and we were determined, and we felt a lot of stress in this small, isolated little circle. You can relate to that. Maybe you can relate to that. Well, anyway, as time went on, you know, the pressure continued in parenting. It always does. You know, to be a parent is to be pressure. But we learned this small little secret. We learned this hidden little secret found in the Old Testament that really helped to ease the pressure. It didn't alleviate the pressure, but it eased the pressure, okay? And I'm going to share that with you in just a few moments. And I just want to come back and just ask you, can you relate to some of the pressure Karen and I felt when we were younger parents? Can any of you relate to that? Maybe even if you're grandparents, you know, sometimes grandparents in our culture end up raising their grandkids. Maybe you feel some pressure. I'm reminded of a woman named Rachel Cush who said, you know, when my kids hit adolescence, they changed, you know. Can I have an amen there? They changed. They became different. And she said, I really didn't like that change because it felt like I was being displaced. And I just didn't know what to do with their tempers. One dad says, you know, when my kids hit adolescence, it was as if they hated me. Other parents talk about how academic failure happens, or self-harm happens, or sexual promiscuity, or drugs, or alcohol, or various kinds of addictions happen. And it just stresses them out. Maybe you can relate to that. Maybe you are there right now. Well, of interest, tucked away in the Old Testament is this book of Deuteronomy. And I'm sure you long reading the book of Deuteronomy in the Old Testament. You know, I was talking to somebody between services, and somebody said, and this woman said, you know, I'm trying to read through the Bible. Is it okay that I skip Leviticus? And I said, sure, yeah, just go ahead and skip it. Don't tear it out. It's the Bible, but go ahead and skip it. And Deuteronomy is kind of one of those books like you never get to unless you're very, very intentional. And this little secret that we're going to look at, it's going to help us to take the next right step in our parenting of our kids and our grandkids. Again, it's not going to alleviate pressure, but it's going to ease pressure. And if you're feeling pressure today, or have felt pressure, or you know it's coming, this little known secret, I believe, is going to help you. So why don't you go ahead and turn in your Bible or on your smartphone or through Crossroads app to Deuteronomy. Deuteronomy, that means the second law, Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 1. And remember, here in these verses, we find that little known secret that's going to make sense in our parenting life. And as we read these verses, you're going to say, well, this is it, or this is it, or this is it. And my hunch is you're going to get wrong. And not that you're not smart, but it's kind of hidden. It's kind of hidden. So let's look at Deuteronomy chapter 6 and verse 1. These are the commands decrees and laws the Lord your God directed me to teach you to observe in the land that you are crossing the Jordan to possess, so that you, watch this, your children and the children after them may what? May fear the Lord your God as long as you live by keeping all his decrees and commandments that I give you, so that you may enjoy a long life. You see, God's not a killjoy. He wants them to obey the commands here, but there's a purpose behind it. There's always a purpose behind the directives of God, and that is so that he will bless us, so that he will favor us. And he says here, so that you may enjoy long life. And then he goes on to say, hear, Israel, be careful to obey, watch this, so that it may go well with you. Again, God's not a killjoy. His goal for your life is that he will favor you and that it will go well for you, and that you may increase greatly in a land flowing with milk and honey, just as the Lord, the God of your ancestors, promised you. Okay? Was a little-known secret in these verses? No, it's not there. So you can sit back, relax. We'll get to that in a little bit. So it's not there. But there's some important truths here. And it goes along with what Pastor Keith taught last week, and that is the role of a parent is to develop the character of Jesus in their kids. And the way that we do that is that we follow closely the instruction of the Lord as he gives it to us in the Bible. Now let me just set some historical context here. God had a people in the Old Testament, they're called the nation of Israel. He chose them, and he brought them out of 400 years of slavery, okay? Miraculously did it. It's a really cool story. And then they went through 40 years of wandering in the wilderness, and right then, when this passage, when the setting that it's talking about, they were getting ready to enter what the Bible calls the Promised Land. The Promised Land was a land, it was described as a land of milk and honey. It was a place where they were just going to flourish. It was an amazing piece of property, kind of like the United States of America. And God was smart enough and God was wise enough to know that these people, his people, are going to get into that land. They're going to prosper. They're going to interact with other people and other cultures. And he knew that they would have a good, big temptation to forget him. Okay? And that caused him concern. And the reason he was concerned is because he knew that if they forgot him, their life was going to start self-destructing. Their culture, their family systems were going to start self-destructing. Again, God's not a killjoy. God gives us guidance. God gives us directives so that we can flourish in life. And he knew that they were going to forget. So he challenged them. Remember this. I want you to remember how I've directed you. I want you to teach it to your kids. I want you to teach it to your grandkids. So let's go ahead and look at verse 4. Will these verses reveal the little-known secret? Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. Okay? Talking there about the fact that the religion of Israel and also the religion of Christianity is monotheistic, one God. There's one God, okay? And he says there's one God, and then he says love the Lord your God with all of your heart, with all of your soul, with all of your strength. He's saying, you know what? Love me with all of your being, and it'll go well with you. So let me ask this question. In these verses, do we find the little-known secret of healthy family life, of healthy parenting? And the answer to the question is, yes, we do, and I'll bet you $5 you're going to get it wrong. I'll bet you $5 you're going to look at what's obvious there, and you can say, this is it. And I'll bet you $5 you're probably going to get it wrong. And we'll come back to that. So let's look at verse 6. These commandments that I give you today are to be on your hearts. Impress them on your children. Talk to your kids when you sit at home and when you walk along the road, when you lie down and when you get up. So again, it's very, very kind of specific directives. And basically what God is saying here is that there needs to be an ongoing conversation with parents and their kids regarding the character, the values, the teachings of Jesus. It's just not a one-time conversation. It's an ongoing conversation. Healthy parents are always looking for teachable moments when they can talk about Jesus and the values of honesty and the values of goodness and the values of purity the values of faithfulness. That's what healthy parents do. And it goes back to what Pastor Keith said last week about developing the character of Christ. Okay? So we know what we're supposed to do, right? We're to follow God's decrees, and he says, and also, you need to be teaching your kids, okay? Your grandkids, you need to be teaching them the ways of God. Well, let's go back at verse 4, and let's figure out what little unknown secret is for healthy parenting that's tucked into this passage. It begins with it starts and it's founded in the first 3 words of Deuteronomy 6. Hear, O Israel. Guess where the secret is found? It's found in the word Israel. And some of you are saying, seriously, John, like to become Jewish. I mean, is that what's saying here? You got to become Jewish to be a healthy parent. No, okay? We support Jewish people, of course. We don't get involved in any kind of anti-Semitism or anything like that because the Jewish people, the Christian faith was followed over the Jewish people. But you don't need to become Jewish to be a healthy parent. I'm just saying that, okay? And you might be saying, well, then do I need to visit the land of Israel? It'd be a good thing to do. I've been there. It's an amazing, amazing place. It was a spiritual pilgrimage for me, but that's what I'm saying here. Notice, will you, if you would, that in this passage, directives given to teaching our kids the ways of God, as we've been talking about the character of Jesus. Notice who specifically this directive is given to. It's not overtly, it's not directly given to parents, although parents are the primary disciplers. It's given to the community of Israel. Jesus says here in this passage, he says, hey parents, parenting is not just a small isolated circle where it's just you and your spouse, or if you're a single person, it's just you, where you're trying to figure this out. No, healthy parenting begins not just with mom and dad, or if you're a single person being a person. No, healthy parenting, it begins with understanding that we need to widen that circle away from our mom and dads to a degree and include other people. Notice the directives here in this passage is not to parents. It's to Israel. It's to the community. It's to a broader, wider circle. And so we discover here that a key, a very unknown key, a very unknown secret of parenting is to widen the circle of influence for your kids. Now, at the top of your message notes, why don't you fill in the blank here? This is an old, ancient African proverb. Here's what it says. It says, it takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a village to raise a kid. You see, here in the United States, we have swallowed this radical, excessive individualism where we think that when it comes to our kids, we have to have this very closed, small circle where if it's to be, it's up to my wife and me or my husband and me, okay? Not so, not so. This radical individualism hurts our kids. That's why this African proverb speaks truth. It takes a village to raise a kid. Or if you don't like the word village, you could say it takes a community to raise the kid. And here's what Karen and I learned very early in our parenting experience, and we fell on it by accident, or we fell into it by accident. It takes a church to raise a kid. You see, when Karen and I felt like this isolated circle in our parenting, where it was just, if it was to be, it was up to Karen and me, when we were feeling all that pressure, we had this rhythm going on in our family. I mean, you were not surprised to that because I'm a pastor, but we had this rhythm. We ended up going to church. Guess how often? Like every Sunday. Okay? And we didn't really realize, I mean, it really wasn't a decision at that particular point, even though that's how I earned my living. But it was just our rhythm. We went to church every Sunday. And it finally dawned on us, or it started to dawn on us early on, hey, wait a minute. Karen and I have a lot of healthy Christian friends who are married, and they're doing the same thing we're doing. They're doing their best to raise kids. And these healthy Christian adults, they have experiences that Karen and I do not have. They have some giftings that Karen and I do not have. They have this outlook on life that Karen and I do not have. And so it just made sense to us, even though we're already in this rhythm. Well, why not widen the circle? Why not widen the circle of influence? It really dawned on us. It takes a village to raise a kid. It takes a community. It takes a church to raise a kid. And we just fell into that. And last week, as I was preparing this message, and I was thinking about expanding that isolated circle and widening it to include so many other people. I mean, I started tearing up as I started thinking about this. I just started going through names of people that significantly impacted our daughter and have made a huge difference in her life. Okay? As I say that, I just this. Parents are primarily the disciples of their kids, but it takes a village. It takes a community. It takes a church to raise a kid. Let me just share some names. There's Eloise Hughes. What a good, wonderful woman who invested in Mary Elizabeth. There was Hazel Stryker, and Mary ended up calling her Grandma Hazel. And then there was Phil and Corinne Miller, and Ken and Janet Shaver, and Connie and Steve Whitaker. And then there were people in our small group. And the circle continued to go on. There was Jerry and Betty Huber. You know, an older couple. They had tons of grandkids, but they just loved kids. And so they worked in our kids' ministry, and they invested and made a huge difference in Mary's life. And then there's Sandy Asimakopoulos. I dare you to try to pronounce that name. Of course, they're from Greece. Sandy Asimakopoulos. Sandy was Mary's junior high growth group leader. And then Connie Anderson, her senior high group leader. Connie was with Mary as a sophomore, junior, and senior in high school. And they still are in excellent, good relationship where Connie is continuing to pour into Mary's life now that Mary's almost 31 years old. How about that? And then when Mary went to college, her parents had this crazy idea to relocate from the West to the Midwest, okay? And so Mary's out there alone as a college student, but there was a Christian couple, a Christian family, Dave and Jennifer Hicks, who started investing her and started including Mary in their family activities and has had a huge influence in her life. Yeah. So from our experience, I would just say to you, why would anybody want to have this small, isolated circle where they just kind of think, you know, if it's up to me, if it's to be, it's up to my spouse and me. Or if you're a single parent, if it's to be, it's up to me. Why would anyone want to do that? When there's such an opportunity, widen that circle and to bring all kinds of good influences into your children's lives. Influences of character, influences of giftings and strength, influences of helping them to see life from a different point of view. Why would anybody ever want to be an isolated, small circle when you can widen that circle? It's the best way to raise your kids. It's found in the Bible. You raise your kids, you're the primary discipler, but, you widen that circle to include others. If you were to look at your connection card, here's my challenge to those of you who are parents and grandparents, and this is my challenge to you, that you would take one definitive step this week, one step to widen your circle. And if you're parents of kids, here's a second action step. You may want to take both of these, and that is that you will commit or recommit to get your kids into Kids Street and Velocity so that your family circle widens and so that you have healthy adults speaking into your kids' lives about the values and the teachings of Jesus. We're here every Sunday, folks, and we're here every Wednesday night to partner with you so that you can widen your circle and so that you can ease the pressure. You never fully ease the pressure of being a parent. Karen and I have experienced pressure all through our parenting pilgrimage, but let me tell you, when we fell into that little known secret of widening our circle, the pressure was eased. I challenge you parents to do that. Now what if we as a church family would understand, whether you have kids or grandkids or no kids whatsoever, what if we would understand that each of us has a role in discipling every kid that comes through the doors of Crossroads? What if we all got excited about the fact that as we come to church on Sundays and as we work through community and growth groups, what if we had this conviction, this growing conviction, this passion that is developing in us? Well, we get to make a difference in kids' lives, and that we get to be a part of families' wider circles. And we get to ensure as best as we can, because of who we are as a community here at Crossroads, that these kids, when they graduate from high school, they will have gained employment or they will go to college, and that they will slide into adulthood with a sense of, you know what, life is good. I have the tools that I need. What if we came to church realizing that? What if, adults, you would come to church with the idea of encouraging parents? What if you would come to church with the idea that you're going to connect appropriately with a kid, and you're going to encourage a teenager, and you're going to encourage a kid? There's a reason why I gather out in the concourse, and I love visiting with you adults, but let me tell you something. I love more visiting with your kids, and I do everything I can to put my arm around them in an appropriate way and say, I believe in you. Why? Because it takes a village. It takes a community. It takes a church to raise healthy kids. Would you join me in prayer? Jesus, for those of us who are Christ followers, probably all of us need to in some way say we're sorry to you for being so distracted in life with our kids. Distracted with school activities and sports activities and just the busyness, distracted with our own employment, where we forget you, where we're leaving the development of the character of Jesus in the life of our kids up to chance. Forgive us for that. And Lord, help us to do a U-turn today as individuals and as a church family, where collectively we will say, you know what? We're going to develop the character of Jesus in our kids and in our grandkids, and we're going to develop the character of Jesus in any kid who shows up at Crossroads. That we are on mission, we are on target to do that. So Lord, empower us as a church family, empower us as nuclear families, empower us as individuals to be a part of broadening the circle of our individual families, so that in the end we raise champions, that we raise our kids ready to attack hell with a water pistol. May that be so. Now, Jesus, some of us who are here today, we'd like to make a first-time commitment to you, to become your follower. You've invited us to do so. And so as any of us just kind of call out to you in our own way, would you please come in and forgive us of our sins? Would you please come to make your home inside of us, that we can have the power to follow you from this day forward as best as we can? And we pray this in your name. Amen. In just a second, Kenzie's going to come out and lead us in a chorus that we can kind of wrap up our gathering today. But before that, I'm going to ask you, and I'm looking at you individually, I'm going to ask you to go ahead and take a hold of that connection card and flip it to the second side. And you let us know of the action step you have taken or will take this week. And parents, I'm challenging you, calling you as your friend, as one of your pastors. I'm calling out to you. Take an action step today regarding your kids. And then you can drop those connection cards off at the door when you leave, and I'll be sure to pray for you this week. Well, Kenzie, as I've said, is going to lead us in a song now that talks about Jesus being our cornerstone, and he is the cornerstone. He's the foundation on which we build our church. He's the foundation on which we build our family. And so you just affirm that Jesus is the foundation as you sing this chorus. And then specifically, he's the foundation of your family.
Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. Through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. Christ alone, cornerstone, weak made strong in the Savior's love. And through the storm, He is Lord, Lord of all. Hope you guys have an awesome week this week. You guys are awesome. Go ahead and check out this connection point back here if you're new, and I'll see you guys next week.
I thought it'd be different. Was hoping by now I would be closer, have it all figured out. Been counting the reasons, been feeling the weight of all of my failures and every mistake. And though I cannot see, I know you promised me you're making a new heart where the old one used to be. I'm gonna be changed, a little each day. Even when I fall, I trust you when you say I'm gonna be changed by your grace. You won't let me stay the same as yesterday. I'm gonna be changed. I look in the mirror, I see in my face the pain that I've carried is being faced. There's a brighter future, I see it in my eyes. There used to be darkness, but now there's a fire. And now that I can see everything you promised me, you're making a new heart. I'm not who I used to be. I'm gonna be changed, a little each day. Even when I fall, I trust you when you say I'm gonna be changed by your grace. You won't let me stay the same as yesterday. I'm gonna be changed. I'm gonna be changed. 'Cause the one who began a good work in me is faithful to make me complete. You're the author, perfecter, my hope and my healer, the reason that I believe I can change. Oh, I can change. I'm gonna be changed, a little each day. Even when I fall, I trust you when you say I'm gonna be